Even hardcore Democrats have come to the realization that the biggest problem they have is Joe Biden. Americans will not be put off by the great Joe Biden replacement theory. It's the idea that somehow, some way the president will be swapped out as the Democratic Party's candidate ahead of the 2024 election.
This is the entire election as far as I'm concerned. The entire world will be watching. If you are a carbon-based life form, you're going to be watching. If you've got a functioning brainstem, you're going to be watching. Because if Biden goes out there and messes up, it's game over. If he walks out there and a week later he's lower in the polls, it's panic in the party. But if he goes in there and he can handle himself against Donald Trump, a runaway train, a locomotive, a raging bull, then this guy deserves another shot to be president, because that is tough. You couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. If you can stand toe-to-toe with a runaway train like Donald Trump for an hour and a half, you are fit to be president, period, point blank. This is the whole presidency in a bottle in a week.
I base things not on my emotions, but on facts and numbers. Do you want to know what his approval rating is now? It's 37%. It's 15 points lower. And we're to believe that the guy who could barely talk and speak is going to pull off the most miraculous comeback in American political history. Sorry, but that's just denying reality. And unlike apparently every other Democratic establishment person, I don't want to lose to Trump, but apparently they don't mind losing to him at all. You'd be mental to run a guy at 37% approval.
Trump's up in every swing state, and in deep blue Minnesota, he edges out Biden when RFK Jr. is on the ballot. A Republican hasn't won Minnesota since Nixon. Compared to 2020, Trump's up 19 points with blacks and 8 with Hispanics. The New York Times has Biden down 5 points with women compared to 4 years ago. What this all means is that Biden has zero room for error from now until November. He can't afford to lose one more voter.
Do you have a prediction for the debate next week? What's going to happen?
Well, all I can say is this. I watched him with Paul Ryan, and he destroyed Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan with the water. He was chugging water at a left and right. I didn't think a human being would be able to drink so much water at one time. And he beat Paul Ryan. So I'm not underestimating him. I'm not underestimating him. It is what it is. I assume he's going to be somebody that will be a worthy debater. Yeah, I would say. I think okay. I don't want to underestimate him.
You know, they set a very low bar for Biden. All he's got to do is stand up straight for 90 minutes and not make a huge gaffe, and he wins.
So that's a mistake to set the bar so low. I think that a lot of pundits did that ahead of the State of the Union, and then you saw what Sean Hannity calls jacked up Joe, which I expect we're going to see next Thursday. Some version of Joe, maybe not where he's gaffing or mumbling, but maybe where he's yelling and whispering. It's usually a combination of something like that.
Do you think he was jacked up on something for the State of the Union?
1,000%.
Coffee, Red Bull?
I don't know what it was. I can't speculate, but it was something, because there is a different Joe that comes out when he needs to perform.
The Biden campaign needs to set the narrative early that Biden is competent and capable to lead going forward, and he absolutely cannot have a senior moment at this debate. That's what I heard I was in Wisconsin and Michigan 2 weeks ago for a lot of focus groups, and what I heard from voters, Democrats who support Biden, is just that they are going to be watching, and they want to make sure that he's up to the task. They might still be planning to vote for him, but they're uncomfortable about the age, and it really is an albatross that is hanging around this candidate and campaign.
But this is going to be a little different, because this isn't a speech that you can read off a teleprompter, which he already struggles with. He's going to have to interact. He's going to have to answer questions on the fly. So it's going to be much more difficult for Joe. But I would also say this: set the bar higher for him, make him rise to those expectations. He's the president of the United States, for goodness sake. But also, what I find really disturbing is he has to take an entire week off from being the president to prepare for a 90-minute debate.
He's resting.
This is the leader of the free world.
The man needs his rest.
And he has to take a week off to prepare for the debate. To me, that's just unacceptable.
In the latest incident, former President Barack Obama was seen on Saturday reaching for Biden's hand and seemingly guiding the 81-year-old commander-in-chief off the stage at a Los Angeles fundraiser. That came after Biden stood motionless and stared blankly for a full minute at a Juneteenth celebration at the White House on Monday, as others sang and danced around him.
It looks pretty clear that the president has kind of frozen. doesn't seem to know where he is or what he's doing. His predecessor as the last Democrat president, Barack Obama, has to lead him off stage by the arm, as if he's taking him home for tea in a nursing home. And many think that's where he should now belong, rather than the White House. There is no disinformation or selective editing about that last clip. There's no disinformation or selective editing in the scores of videos we see of Biden's physical and apparent cognitive disintegration every week. A video of President Joe Biden wandering listlessly at the G7 summit in Italy made global headlines last week. It appears to show a confused commander-in-chief drifting aimlessly away from world leaders until Italy's Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, retrieves him. Liberal media outlets scream misinformation as their longer clip, taken from a different angle, shows him giving a thumbs up to 3 parachutists who were taking part in the ceremony. On that, at least, they might have a point. But they're also missing the real point. This wasn't Joe Biden's first offense of this kind.
The bar couldn't be any lower for Joe. As long as he doesn't just get up and wander off before it's over, people will call it a win.
I'd be a president for every American, whether they voted for me or not.
Well, and the ones that didn't vote for your bills but run on them.
That's right.
Mr. President, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate
it's great to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Don't go anywhere. It's a very exciting day around here. We'll have reaction and analysis to everything we just heard.
Well, the hedge fund billionaire Bill Ackman, who is a Democrat but now says he won't vote for Biden and may well vote for Trump in 2024, hit Manel on the head with a response directly to me. Look at what is going on in the world, he wrote on X in reply to my post. The perception of weak leadership in the United States has led to global chaos. The reality of weak leadership is a long-term, serious and continued threat to our country. The Democratic Party is destroying itself by advancing Biden for a second term. This is the Emperor's New Clothes in real life. But it's not a children's book or a joke. The world is at great risk, and a Biden second term is a grave threat to global security and prosperity. Well, I couldn't agree more. Biden is supposed to be America's commander-in-chief at what is a very dangerous time for the world. But frankly, I wouldn't trust him now to order a restaurant meal, let alone a military strike. So why is he still running for office?
Former Clinton advisor and polling expert suggested the CNN debate will be Biden's last chance to reassure voters he's fit for the job. Joe stumbles in that first face-off with Trump. If his polling numbers keep falling, the only people who could force him out would be Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, Nancy Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer to make Joe throw in the towel.
So if you go to who should replace him,
Yeah.
First of all, anyone. Give me any random Democratic governor that you pull out of a hat, and that person will have 10-point higher.
But who's the best? Who's the best
Joe
potential?
Biden, and will have a great chance at beating Donald Trump.
Yeah, exactly. He needs to talk to the forgotten Americans that he won in 2016. He needs to go back to 2016 Trump. I agree that the economy and immigration are going to be the 2 big issues. And so when you're talking about picking up women, as we just discussed in the last segment, women are scared right now. They're